Beginning our first voter forum of 2020, we welcome Judge Tim Campbell and attorney Hoot Crawford. And our first 2-minute segment will be for the candidates to introduce themselves. I'll tell you what, I'll play the 2-finger game. Judge Campbell, am I holding 2 fingers behind my back or 1?
Can you
go ahead? I can hear you, Judge. 2 fingers or 1?
Behind your back?
Yes, sir.
1.
No, sir, it's 2. So, okay. Attorney Hoot Crawford, please introduce yourself, 2 minutes, and tell where you're from, who you are, and 2 minutes. Go right ahead.
I'm going to tell you, I'm from Bay County, and I ain't never been prouder to live in any place in my life. To see the people that came back after Hurricane Michael and they joined me out there on those streets throwing trees, and they've helped me hang sheetrock, and they've helped me roof houses. All of those people, I want to be with them the rest of my life. I'm going to die right here in Bay County. I done made that mind up. Now, as far as running for judge, a whole lot of y'all know me, seen me before. You can certainly go on what the past is, but you can ask me any question you want, and I'll dang sure answer it. And if you don't get it answered today, you call me at my office. I'll make time for you, and we'll have a cup of coffee, and we'll settle every problem there is in the world. It just may not implement it like we want them to. You know, the main reason I'm running is because I was out there throwing trees, and while I was throwing trees, they were filing cases down there at the courthouse, and those cases wound up in Tim Campbell's courtroom. And if you want to see them, I got all 55 of the cases right here that were filed on Michael last year, starting in January. I'm getting some feedback, but they starting in January, and they were filed, and they still ain't had a court date yet. He hadn't made a single bit of time for those 55 cases from last year. Hadn't been to court, hadn't been talked to. Nothing on the record, no events, no court dates at all. That's wrong. We didn't go out there and bust our butt cleaning this place up to get to where we are, to have our cases ignored. That's what I got to say.
Okay, and you said it within your 2 minutes, so I'll go ahead and restart the clock. And Judge Campbell, please introduce yourself. Tell us where you're from. Tell us whatever background you want, and there's going to be plenty of time to discuss additional issues. Go right ahead, Judge Campbell.
Okay, yeah, I'll talk about the misleading numbers later, but I see a lot of friendly faces out there. First, just tell you about myself. I'm a man of faith. I'm a lifelong resident of Bay County, and I met my wonderful wife in college. And this August, we will have our 38th wedding anniversary. We have 2 children, aged 33 and 31. And I believe having children has made me a better judge of children of my own, because, you know, children will try you sometimes. After law school, I started practicing law in 1984. So that's 36 years experience. So I guess that's 13, 14 years more than my opponent.
Thank you for that.
I was elected Bay County Judge 12 years ago, and I'm the same person I was when elected. I don't try to change my image, whether I'm running for office or not. Unlike my opponent, I have extensive experience in both civil and criminal law. I know there's times when he's come into my court, he's brought a different lawyer for civil cases. So because, well, it just shows what he's talking about, some of those numbers, how little experience he has in civil cases. But I have decades of community service, long before I ever thought about running for office. And with the hurricane, you know, it's nice how we all came together, and I helped my neighbors too. Also, the very morning after the hurricane, I was up and went to the jail, and had to back up a few times, get around trees and fallen poles. But I made my way there for bond hearings, and I was doing my job. And community service, I've served many offices and held many offices, including president of many civic organizations. One time in the JCs, we were national.
And
We
that,
received the award for #1 in the nation for community fundraising.
okay, and that's the 2 minutes, Judge. Thank you. And now, moving on to question 2 from the voter forum committee.
It does.
And I'm sorry.
I can keep time on these if Dave will stop muting me. I can. I
Oh,
can
okay.
do that. You don't have to.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'll just say time when the time comes up, so you don't have to worry about it.
Okay. We have distinguished attorney Eric Krebs on the line. That behind him is his wife's closet, but he is an expert timekeeper and has kept time on many voter forums in the past for Kiwanis. So Eric, this next question is going to be 2 minutes, and as we do in our voter forums, we reverse the order. Last time Attorney Crawford went first. This time Judge Campbell will go first. Here is the question, Judge. Why do you want to be Bay County Judge? 2 minutes.
Well, God led me to take the next step into public service. From a young age, friends would ask me to resolve disputes. So it is a position that suits me well. I have the judicial temperament and patience. It's nothing I have to work at. It just comes naturally to me because I see the good in people first. And I have respect for all people. I've also been accused of being a workaholic, and I'll tell you about the numbers later, but I've handled many types of cases, including criminal and civil, in circuit court and county court and federal court. And I wanted to take the next step and bring my work ethic to serve the citizens of Bay County on the bench.
All right. And you do not have to use the entire 2 minute time for any of our candidates. I want them to know that. And so, Judge, anything else you want to add, or that's it? And
well, I just to finish up on the last question, I continue to serve and volunteer. I served as Chief Administrative County Judge for Bay County. Currently serve as a circuit rep for the state organization of county judges. Chair of different committees there, including the Constitution Revision Committee. And I like hunting, fishing, and watching college football.
okay. And so 2 minutes for Attorney Crawford. The question is, why do you want to be Bay County Judge?
Scared me. You froze up there for a second. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes, sir.
First off, I want to deal with that misleading that he accused me of. Let me tell you what I asked the clerk of court. Specifically, can you please identify the open Hurricane Michael cases for Judge Campbell? How many have not had a court date? Their count is 5 from last year and another 55 from this year that still hadn't had a court date. Now, he may have got up the day after the hurricane and made his way to the jail, but he ain't dealing with these cases. Those Hurricane Michael cases need to get into court. Y'all that are lawyers listening on this, you know stuff don't happen real good until you get you a court date. And then a week before that court date, you try to get with the other side and figure out what's going on so you can tell the judge where your case is. He ain't going to even ask those 55 cases where they are in their case. They ain't been to court once. There's no record of them ever being in a Bay County courtroom. So if that's my question again, I got those cases. They're right here. As far as the second part of that, this is 73 pages with 43 average to a page. That's 3,188. As of June 20, he has 3,188. Let me read you the years. 85, 85, 85, 85, 85, 85, 85, 85, 85, 86, 86, 86, 86, 86, 86, 86, 86, 86, 86, 86, 87. I can read for a while. There's 3,188. There's a bunch of cases that he ain't dealt with. Now, the judges down there are supposed to know how to do that. He's had 12 years to practice, and he ain't done it yet. Now, those people need justice. They need those warrants removed from 35 years ago for having a can of beer or a $6 hot check.
Time.
If you want to do something, you go down there and you dismiss those cases like you're supposed to, and every other judge down there does.
Are you talking to me?
Thank you.
No, hold
I'm
on.
talking to the audience.
Okay, hold on. So the 2-minute time limit came up. So we are now going to go on to the third question. And obviously, both candidates should feel free to address issues that have been brought up in previous questions, in this next one. So this question is another 2-minute question. And as we continue to alternate back and forth who goes first, Attorney Crawford will respond to this question first, and then Judge Campbell will respond to that. So the third question is, what is the biggest issue or issues in this county judge race? 2 minutes, Attorney Crawford.
Biggest issue is those Hurricane Michael cases that ain't seen the courtroom yet. That's the biggest issue. There's 55 people that are hurting. They've been stuck around by the insurance companies, and they finally went down here to get justice at the Bay County courtroom, and he ain't got time for them. That's about a belly full of that. We need to make some time and get those Hurricane Michael cases right on through the courtroom. Now, he can blame COVID, he can make excuses all he wants to, but Hurricane Michael didn't take no excuses, and neither should Bay County. He needs to get lit up under it and go do the right thing for these people and clean this docket up like it's supposed to be. Now, I don't know what he's going to do, but he needs to do the right thing, and that's take care of these people and care about the citizens of Bay County rather than drawing that paycheck and cashing it every month. It's time for us to get a change and get prompt, efficient, and fair justice for Bay County. That's why I'm running. Thank you.
And now, Judge Campbell, 2 minutes for you. And the question is, what is the biggest issue or issues in the county judge race? 2 minutes.
Well, the biggest issue is my opponent. Now, the short time before he filed to run against me, he was going around town trying to get support to run for state attorney. But he decided he's going to run, and I won't comment on that too much, but I'll just read you a comment on Rule 4.1 of judicial candidates. The judicial canon. Judicial candidates must be scrupulously fair and accurate in all statements made by them and by their campaign committees. Paragraph A11 obligates candidates and their committees to refrain from making statements that are false or misleading, or that omit facts necessary to make the communication considered as a whole not materially misleading. So there's the canon for you. Now let me talk about the numbers. I was going to talk about that later, but just right off the bat. So first time I went and checked my numbers. The last 4 years leading up to 2020, I have averaged closing or resolving over 4,000 cases every year each year. And so then I went and checked, the first county judge I checked, I have almost 2,000 less open cases than that judge. Then I checked the next judge. I have over 3,000 less open cases than that judge. So that's why I'm talking about misleading, and it's not an excuse to talk about something that he leaves out. And I know he put a full-page ad in the newspaper, but these numbers, let's be clear. First, it's not about the numbers, because we're dealing with real people, citizens of Bay County, and every person in every case is different. So Mr. Crawford leaves out some very important information about the other judges, and also about everybody knows there's a hurricane. Everybody knows that COVID-19, we have Supreme Court mandates and governor's orders that virtually shut down the courts. Did I hear time?
Yes, you're on time.
Okay, it was faint. I'll stop.
I'll speak up. I normally have a bell. I don't have my bell with me.
And as I said, both candidates can continue their thoughts into this next question. Now, this next question is just going to be a 1-minute question, so think and speak promptly. This next question, 1 minute, is there anything in this judicial forum that we didn't ask you about today, which you wish we had asked you? Judge Campbell, you go first on this one, 1 minute.
Well, just to continue of what we were saying, the courts have been shut down virtually all over the state and the nation. The prosecutors and defense attorneys have great difficulty locating and communicating with victims and clients. As far as the hurricane-related cases, I'm the only judge in our circuit to get one of those cases to a jury trial. And I did it before the COVID-19 shutdowns. But I know how to handle civil cases. I do it all the time. I did it for 24 years in my practice. I was board certified in one area of civil practice. So I have the more and greater experience. But let me say this too. All the judges in the circuit, I had meetings with them. They're working hard. So when I mention other judges, I don't, we're all working hard to try to get through this pandemic and catch up with the backlog.
Thank you. Okay, and now, Attorney Crawford, the question, 1 minute. Is there anything which we haven't asked you, which you wish we had asked you at the judicial forum, the candidate forum today?
Well, you didn't ask about my wife or my service dog, but we'll skip them for right now. Look, he can blame whoever he wants to. I got the facts here straight from the Bay County Clerk's office, and he can compare himself to any old rock he wants to, but he's still laying down on these cases when we need a rocket strapped to them, not a boat anchor. It's about enough of that. These people need help now, and we Zoom, Judge. In these other courtrooms, we're Zooming every day. We got hearings every day going on. Zoom it. You can call those attorneys. You can set a Zoom hearing with those other attorneys, and you can find out where those cases are and what they need to get accomplished, so that when we do finally open up and can get a jury, they're the first in line. But if you don't have a court date for them, those attorneys are going to lay down. Thank you very much. Oh, were you telling me time? Perfect. Perfect timing.
Okay.
Thank you very much. I wish you had a bell.
All right. And candidates, we have one final question. This is a 1 minute, and this will be the wrap up. And this will be your opportunity to directly address the Kiwanians, the listeners and viewers on the streaming, everyone, the voters, and a wrap up to address why they should vote for you. And as we continue to alternate who goes first, Attorney Crawford, you go first, 1 minute, wrap it up.
My 9-year-old granddaughter used to shift the blame from her to someone or something else when it really was her fault. I'm glad she grew out of that and now takes responsibility for her actions. Judge, own your record and don't try to shift the blame. You know 3,000 open cases dating back to the 80s is too many and too long. You know you ignored 55 Hurricane Michael cases and haven't given the courtesy of showing them the inside of a Bay County courtroom. The clerk of court keeps your record, and I have it. Bay County deserves the truth from you. I'm Hoot Crawford, and I'm asking for your vote on August the 18th. Paid for and approved by Hoot Crawford for Bay County Judge, and may God bless Bay County. Thank you very much. I appreciate y'all having me here today. I wish it was in person and we could sup together, because y'all have some good meals down there at St. Andrews, and I remember. Thank you very much. Thank you kindly. If y'all have any questions, my office is open. Thank you.
All right, and thank you. And Judge Campbell, 1 minute for your final summation to the voters. Go right ahead.
All right, I'm trying to answer the questions and not yell at my opponent. He directs his comments to me, but he's the same thing last time. I'm a folk, you're a folk, we're all folks together. But the truth is, I'm a workaholic. My numbers are better. I just told you about 2,000 less cases than one judge, 3,000 less than another judge. But I'm trying not to throw other judges under the bus. This
Good job.
This is a real This is a real pandemic. It's a real problem. I've never been afraid to use technology. I was one of the first lawyers that had computers when I had my law office. I do use Zoom. We are having hearings. We are overcoming those problems. All the judges are. I know what the other judges are doing, and we're doing the best we can. There have been articles in the paper about the backlog because of the COVID-19. I don't have to reiterate all of that. But let me tell you about these old cases, and some of the lawyers in the room can
He
explain.
did say time, Judge.
Explain the old cases. A great lot of them are warrants are sitting out there where people failed to appear,
He
failed to
did
pay
say
their
time,
fine.
Judge.
Would you be quiet? And so
Thank you very much. That's judicial
that's the
temperament
other
right
thing.
there.
And then the small claims rule that he doesn't know about, the lawyers have on each side can waive their right to go to pretrial. And that's what they do. These defense lawyers and the plaintiff's lawyers do that on the hurricane cases.
There's it.
Time's up, Your Honor. I'm sorry.
So
We all
We
tried
want-
to tell him.
we want to thank both Judge Tim Campbell and Attorney Hoot Crawford, two fine gentlemen, for appearing today at our voter forum.